Hello and welcome to this comprehensive YouTube tutorial series on building a Node.js CRUD application. With MySQL integration and enhancing the user interface using Bootstrap Offcanvas. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced developer, this series will guide you step by step through creating a robust application that performs create, read, update, and delete operations on data stored in a MySQL database. In the first part of this Node CRUD tutorial series, we will explore how to fetch data from a MySQL table and seamlessly load it into a jQuery data table, providing a clean and organized way to display data. When working with databases, retrieving data is a fundamental task. We will walk you through the process of establishing a connection to your MySQL database using Node.js and the MySQL 2 module. Then, we will demonstrate how to query the database and efficiently load the retrieved data into a dynamic jQuery data table. Now let's start discussing this topic. So this is our testing database. And under this, we have one user table with 3 table columns like id, name and email. And under this table, we have already inserted some data, so we will fetch this data and load into jQuery data tables in Node CRUD application. So first we have to download Express framework and MySQL 2 module. So here in terminal, first we have goes to our working directory. And after this, here we have run this command, which will download Express framework. After this, for download MySQL 2 module, so here we have run this command. Now we have opened our working directory in text editor. And under this, we have already created 2 files with name like server JavaScript file and form HTML file. And here also, we can see downloaded module also. First we have open form HTML file. And under this, we have already included library like Bootstrap 5 library, jQuery library and jQuery DataTables library. Under this file, we have create one table with class is equal to table and table bordered with id is equal to sample data. Under this table, we have create one table head tag. And under this, we have create one table row tag. And under this table row tag, we have create 3 table column with name like name, email and action. And below this, we have create one table body tag. So here our table structure is ready. Now we have goes to JavaScript code part, and here we have starting with the initialization of data table. Here, we are telling jQuery to target an HTML element with the ID sample data and transform it into a data table. In first option, we set the AJAX option to fetch data, which is the endpoint from which we will fetch our data. This endpoint is where you will implement the server-side logic to provide the data to populate the data table. Next, we enable server-side processing and specify the server method as get. This means that data tables will make requests to the server to handle paging, searching, and sorting operations. This is especially useful when dealing with large datasets. We have set processing option to true. This activates a loading indicator, notifying users that data is being fetched and processed. The order option, which is set to an empty array, which indicating that the data table should not apply any default sorting order when initially loaded. Now let us move on to the columns option. Here, we define the columns of our data table. For example, data key and name value corresponds to the name column in our data source. Same way data key value set to email, which is corresponds to the email column in our data source. Now for creating edit and delete button, we are using a custom rendering function. This column contains edit and delete buttons for each row. So now for make edit button, here we have to write return statement with button tag. And here, we have to write class attribute is equal to button and button warning class and button small class. And in button text, we have to write edit, so it will make edit button. Now for make delete button, here we have to write button tag with class is equal to button, button danger, button small, and in button text we have write delete, so it will make delete button. So here our JavaScript code is ready. Now we have go to server JavaScript file. So here, first we have to import necessary dependencies. So here we are using Express framework to create our server. After this, body-parser is used to pass incoming request bodies. And the MySQL2 package is used to handle our interaction with the MySQL database. Now we have to initialize our Express application by using this code. So it will set up the foundation for our server. After this, to ensure we can pass incoming form data. So we have to set up body parse middleware by using this code. This will allow us to extract data from form submission. After this, we have to configure MySQL database. So for configure our MySQL database connection by using this code. And here, we have to specify host, username, password and database name details. Now we want to establish MySQL database connection. So for establish the connection to the MySQL database. By using connection.connect method, so it will try to make database connection. And inside the callback function, we have to check for any error. If an error occurs, then we can log an error message and terminate the process. Otherwise, we can log that, like we are connected to the database. Next, we set up a route using app.get method with this argument. When someone navigates to the root URL of our server, then this code will be called. And we serve an HTML file named form. And we are essentially setting up the initial interface for users to interact with. After this, we have to start our server. So here we have to write app.listen method with two arguments. In first argument, we have to write 3000 port, and in second argument, we have to write callback function, so it will start our server to listen on port 3000. And when the server starts, we log a message indicating that it is listening on port 3000. Now we have goes to terminal and run node server file name command. So it will start our server, and here we can see database connection message and server start message. Now here in browser, we have write localhost with port 3000. So here, we can see that error message has been appear because we have not set root for load data in jQuery data table. So we have goes to server file, and here, we have to write app.post method, with 2 argument. In first argument, we have to write /fetch data. And in second argument, we have to write request and response variable. Within this route, we are extracting query parameters from the request using destructuring. We retrieve values like draw, start, length, order, columns, and search from the query. After this, we have to write column index variable is equal to order variable, and order 0 index, and order 0 index.column, so it will extract column index data. After this, we have to write column sort order variable is equal to condition like, if order variable value is equal to undefined, then descending order. Otherwise, value of request.query.order 0 index, direction, so it will extract column sorting data. Now for get column name data, so here we have to write column name variable is equal to condition like, if column index has value, then value of column variable, with column index.data. Otherwise it will set it table column name, so it will set column name data. Now for get search query value, so here we have to write search value variable is equal to search.value. Next for make search query, so here we have to write search query variable is equal to condition like, if search value variable has some value, then it will make query like where name like value of search value variable, or email like value of search value variable. Otherwise, it will set blank value, so here, we have make search query. Now we want to make query for fetch user table data, so here we have to write query1 variable is equal to select id, name, email from user table, and for where condition, here we have to write search query variable. And for order query, here we have to write column name variable, and column sort order variable. And for data limit query, here we have to write start variable, and length variable. Next, we have to make query for get total number of records in user table. So here, we have to write query2 variable is equal to select count start as total from user table. After this, we want to get total filtered records from this user table, so here we have to write query3 variable. And after this, we have to write select count start as total from user table. And for where condition, here we have to write search query variable, so here our query is ready. Now for execute query 1, so here, we have to write connection.query method with 2 argument. In first argument, we have to write quest1 variable, and in second argument, we have Tom write data error and data result variable. Under this callback function, for execute query 2, so here we have to write connection.query method with 2 argument, so in first argument, we have to write query2 variable. And in second argument, we have to write callback function with total data error and total data result variable. And under this callback function, we want to execute query 3, so here we have to write connect.query method with 2 argument, so here in first argument, we have to write query 3 variable, and second argument, we have to write callback function with total filter data error variable, and total filter data result variable, as argument. Under this function, we have to write response.json method, so it will send response to Ajax. In first key, we have to write draw, and in value, we have to write request.query.draw variable. In second key, we have to write records total, and in value, we have to write total result variable with 0 index with total. In third key, we have to write records filtered, and in value, we have to write total filter data result with 0 index with total. And in last key, we have to write data, and in value, we have to write data result, so it will send this data to Ajax request. So here, our code is ready. Now we have goes to terminal. And here, we have run this command, so it will start our Node server. Now here in the browser, we have to refresh web page, and after refresh of web page, you will notice a table structure with different columns, such as name, email, and more. Currently, the table is devoid of any data. In case you are working with an extensive dataset, the data table provides built-in pagination. This ensures that only a manageable chunk of data is displayed at a time, avoiding overwhelming clutter. Lastly, take advantage of the search bar offered by the data table. It allows you to effortlessly search for specific values across all columns. This feature is invaluable when dealing with large datasets. So in this part, we have shown you how to load data in jQuery data tables with server-side processing of data. In next part, we will show you how to insert data into MySQL table by using Node.js and Bootstrap 5 Offcanvas, so we will be meet in next part.